Fight fans? This is JD of Bvtvnews, and you know I got to keep y'all updated with the latest and greatest in the sport of boxing. And with that being said, man, let's talk a little bit about, a real topic that's starting to bubble and starting to surface, in the sport of boxing, right? And, right now, for many years, for decades, Las Vegas, Nevada has been the undisputed, undeniable, unanimous capital of boxing, right? All the biggest fights, all the fights that, really are at the top of the sport tend to go down in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. But, that might be changing as of, the next year or two, because right now, the Saudi Arabia Gaming Commission and their Entertainment Commission is definitely looking to totally change the game completely with boxing and turn Riyadh into the new capital of boxing. Now, that begs the question, for a lot of people, they're starting to wonder, is it a good thing for some of the biggest fights now to not be held on U.S. soil, mainly Las Vegas, and be going over to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia? Now, for a lot of fighters, this is a crucial talking point because over in Riyadh, they are unloading some of the biggest bags of money that some of these fighters have ever seen in their careers. Namely, we are now about to get AJ versus Francis Ngannou. That is where we're also going to get Fury versus Usyk. If you all remember, this is where we just recently got the Day of Reckoning, which was one of the most stacked heavyweight cards that we've seen probably ever in the sport, with all relevant heavyweights all fighting on the same card. And so massive fights like that are starting to be going over to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Now, you may have some people complain, but I would venture to say that this is actually a good thing for boxing. And the reason why I say that is, in a sheer numbers game, while it is fun to go to Las Vegas and see some of these bouts occur in Vegas, it starts to become a sheer numbers game when you start to really look at the live gate of fights compared to what really is happening on the pay-per-view scale of these bouts. Now, when you look at, Vegas and Dallas, AT&T Stadium, New York, Madison Square Garden, you look at some of these arenas or some of these stadiums, the live gate pales in comparison to what the numbers do for these mega bouts with pay-per-view. And so when you really start to think about how the pay-per-view market is much deeper than the actual live gate, it really is good for boxing if you want to see the fighters make the biggest amount of money for putting their lives on the line in the sport. At the end of the day, the live gate for a lot of these fights is really only about maybe 1% to 3% of the real eyes that are watching it and the real revenue. Most of the real revenue is coming from the boatload of pay-per-view money coming from the bouts. Then the other element of all this is that with Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, if they have, the bricks truck, dare I say, to back up and pay these fighters to really get in the ring for the biggest of bouts, it only makes even more sense because now they are able to help us get as fans the biggest and best fights in the sport of boxing, and the fighters also get paid. So overall, it kind of starts to be a win-win. At the end of the day, man, as a boxing fan, while I love, from time to time to go see a fight live, I got to admit, man, probably 99% of the fights that I watch it right on my TV, right from home on pay-per-view or on whatever network it's on, ESPN, DAZN. I'm typically watching it on my couch. So when you take that into account, man, I think that what Saudi Arabia is doing is excellent for fighters, man, because they're really risking their lives and putting their lives on the line for our entertainment. So I believe that the fights definitely should be staged wherever they can get the most money for the fight. But let me know what you think in the comments, man. Are you a proponent of the biggest fights staying on U.S. soil in places like Vegas or New York? Or are you a fan of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and what they're doing over there, bringing some of the most massive fights over to that side and giving the fighters the biggest amount of money possible, and also helping us as fans see some of the biggest fights, because now, you know, they're giving so much money that the fighters can't deny that it makes sense for them to face off against each other. But nevertheless, man, let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, man, this is JD at BVTV News. Till next time, I'm out.